watching News Epicentre with me, Maria Shakil. For a second day in a row, there was a massive uproar in Parliament in the wake of Rahul Gandhi's comments in London, where he claimed that Indian democracy is under threat. Union ministers are leading the charge against the Congress MP as the BJP continues to seek an apology, accusing Rahul Gandhi of defaming India on foreign soil. The BJP also says Rahul Gandhi insulted India by seeking the aid of foreign nations to defend Indian democracy. Congress continues to defend Rahul Gandhi, claiming he spoke the truth in London, adding that the BJP's apology demand is a diversionary tactic to derail debate on policy matters. There has been a complete washout in the 2 days of the second leg of the budget session, with over 30 bills in limbo, awaiting passage. Rahul Gandhi's aide, Sam Pitroda, a central figure behind Rahul Gandhi's foreign tours, has also spoken out, claiming that the Congress MP never sought foreign intervention but simply raised concerns over attacks on the institutions of the world's largest democracy. Top union ministers have called Rahul Gandhi a serial offender for undermining India's sovereignty time and again, claiming Indian democracy remains a robust global force, adding that the Congress MP is targeting the nation by venting his own political frustrations. The BJP reminded Rahul Gandhi that the only time democracy was wounded in India was in 1975, when his grandmother, former Prime Minister Indira Gandhi, declared emergency. The showdown will continue tomorrow, as the pre-election fight is only set to escalate, derailing the parliamentary agenda. The big question remains, who is to blame for this?
The surprising thing is that the so-called defenders of democracy, which are the United States, European countries, seem to just be oblivious.
माननीय सदस्य देश के बाहर जाके एक अपने पार्लियामेंट के बारे में ऐसे उल्टे सीधे बयान करे, इस बात की निंदा भी करनी पड़ेगी और उन्होंने यहाँ पे आके माफी मांगनी पड़ेगी.
Nobody gives Rahul Gandhi the right to tarnish the image of India, spread lies about India, and spoil the image of the parliament. He should come back and apologize.
I don't believe that Rahul Gandhi has said anything that requires an apology. In every one of them, he consistently expressed concern, and at the same time, he also said, this is our problem, we will deal with it, but you need to be aware of it.
सरकार खुद नहीं चलाना चाहते हैं हाउस. कल ऐसा नजारा कभी देखे हैं कि सरकार के मंत्रीगण, सरकार के सारे एमपी गण सब मतलब सदन को ठप करने के लिए किस तरीके से हंगामा किए हैं.
Breaking news coming in now. On Wednesday, 18 opposition party leaders are set to discuss a joint strategy to take on the BJP. A proposal for a joint opposition letter to be discussed by all MPs and a proposal to march to the ED office may also be considered. Pallavi Ghosh is joining us live. So Pallavi, does it also include the Aam Aadmi Party and the BRS?
Well, Aam Aadmi Party was very much a part of that opposition meeting yesterday and also today, Maria. So they're likely to be a part of this meeting tomorrow, but there's no clarity yet because BRS and TMC are two parties who have largely stayed away. But I think the big point that they're going to do is they're going to step up their attack on the government over what they call misuse of investigative agencies. Look, so far, as far as the Adani issue is concerned, opposition parties have stayed away. But BRS and TMC are as angry about what they call the misuse of the investigative agencies. In the previous budget session, we did see all of them coming together on this point. So it'll be interesting to watch whether these two are actually going to be a part of this joint so-called opposition attempt to take on the government over the ED. CBI issue. That's not something which is being mulled. And second, tomorrow Rahul Gandhi is expected back in Lok Sabha, in Parliament, back from his UK trip. So I think that's also what the Congress party plans to step up its campaign against the government.
But if Rahul Gandhi doesn't apologize, because it looks like, Pallavi, at the moment, that the entire Congress is defending his remarks in United Kingdom, then what next? How will this impasse end?
Well, I mean, I don't know. There doesn't seem to be any breakthrough, because if one thing the Congress party is very adamant about is the fact that Rahul Gandhi will not apologize. And I don't think, if you see the history, Rahul Gandhi has refused to apologize on the RSS issue despite facing a defamation suit, because an apology would also be seen as an admission of guilt. And that is something which the Congress party certainly doesn't want to do. So very, very unlikely that Rahul Gandhi is going to apologize. As of now, this week certainly seems to be a complete washout.
All right, Pallavi Ghosh, I appreciate your time. Thank you so much. For the moment, is the index of opposition unity visible? Let's take those questions to the panelists who are joining me. Shazia Ilmi, BJP National Spokesperson; Swati Malik, Congress Spokesperson; Krishank Mane, BRS Spokesperson. We also have Professor M Nalapat. He's a senior journalist joining us. I am going to begin with you, Swati. The question is certainly of waste of taxpayers' money. Each minute of running parliament during sessions costs the exchequer 2.5 lakh rupees. Who is to be held accountable?
Thank you, Myra, for pointing out how much it is costing all of us, the taxpayers, and how it has not been functioning. And this is not the first session that the parliament is not allowed to function. If you would notice, the earlier sessions as well, starting right from the farm laws when the opposition wanted to discuss onwards, each session has been disrupted. But what is interesting here, Myra, it is the party in majority, it is the government who does not want the parliament to proceed or the parliament to function. Whenever the opposition wants or requests for a discussion, it causes a whole disruption in the session, and it is suspended. What is wrong, Myra, if 16 opposition parties have come together and are requesting for a JPC? A JPC is not something that the BJP has not heard of, or the opposition hasn't heard of. It's been there since, the multiple JPCs have been appointed, have been requested by the BJP also earlier. That time when Congress was in power, we didn't shy away from the investigation.
So you are essentially saying that JPC is what you want, and that is the only way out of this entire impasse. Shazia Ilmi, if you can hear me now.
Yes, I
Not sure how much infamy was brought to India in Rahul Gandhi's criticism, but the Parliament of India not functioning is a criminal waste of taxpayers' money. And it is always the Treasury benches which is to be held accountable for this.
Well, but the fact of the matter is that it is a two-way street. And there has been in the last, not just present session, but last many sessions we've seen that all the opposition has wanted to do is not just bring infamy, but actually, whether it's a matter of Pegasus and before that Rafale, on all of these issues, it's all fallen flat on their face. They've all fallen flat on their face. Again, now they're insisting on this JPC probe. Do they have no faith in the Supreme Court? Are they saying that they have zero credibility in our institutions? Are they actually going with what Rahul Gandhi said abroad on foreign soil about the lack of efficacy and credibility of our institutions, and thereby demanding a JPC in the matter? Don't we know what has happened to earlier JPCs? Do we remember what happened to all the JPCs that had happened? And how?
But Shazia, many of these JPCs were a demand when you were in opposition, when BJP was in opposition.
But tell me something. How does the fact of the matter that the Supreme Court has appointed, there is a panel in place with choice of members being given to the parliamentarians and the parliament. How is that any different from any JPC? And why would the parliament not conduct the proceedings in the correct manner?
Okay, so I'm just trying to understand what is it that the opposition is trying to raise here, Swati? Is it the issue of what you say is the investigating agencies questioning your leaders, as it has happened with the case of Aam Aadmi Party and the BRS? But in both these cases, be it in the case of K. Kavita or in the case of Manish Sisodia and others, You have maintained it clearly that this is an investigation, let the law take its course. That Liquorgate was flawed and it was bad law, bad in policy. So if it was bad policy, it is being investigated, then what exactly are you protesting against right now?
Myra, two things. Let me just clarify. When the BJP spokesperson, when she says that Supreme Court has taken charge and there's a committee which has been appointed by the Supreme Court as far as and what different will JPC be? Please let me clarify. JPC will have opposition members from all the parties, all the opposition as well as the majority. That is why everybody, all 16 parties are demanding for a JPC. One more thing I want to clarify here, and borrowing the words of the Honorable Supreme Court here, the committee which has been appointed by the Supreme Court, Maria, will only is only for review of regulatory framework. Myra, sorry for the and that it says committee was needed for regulatory mechanism to ensure safety of investors. That is what that committee will look into. That is what the committee will report to the Supreme Court. It will not look into the fact or at whose behest did LIC invest in Adani, where we have in our local mutual funds don't invest in the Adani Group. At whose behest did LIC invest those 29,000 crores? At whose behest did FBI do what it did? Those are the inquiries which need to be done by the JPC. Please also, one more request you'll be making through the JPC is also to inquire the Benami property transactions.
No, listen, Swati. All this can happen. All these issues that you wish to raise can be raised only if Rahul Gandhi apologizes. That's what the BJP is demanding. That you can talk about any issue and every issue, but Rahul Gandhi has questioned the functioning of democracy, and you and BJP and all political parties are derailing democracy by ensuring that the parliament doesn't function. And he himself has been missing in action.
Isn't this exactly what the BJP has been doing? This is just diversion.
Okay. This
is just diverting the attention from our demand from JPC.
No, but the question is, shouldn't Rahul Gandhi have foreseen this? Okay, Swati Malik, my question is that we saw this play out also in the budget session, the first part of the budget session. You were raising similar issues. If Rahul Gandhi was aware of these alleged diversionary tactics, then he should not have said what he did in Chatham House and in the university in UK, in Cambridge.
What did he say wrong, Maria? What did he say wrong?
Of course he said everything wrong.
Democracy is failing. I don't need to remind you.
No.
I don't need to remind you
did
of
the
ED attacks and how the washing machine was
but how is democracy failing? Only recently you won in Himachal Pradesh. Wasn't that a democratic exercise?
Absolutely it was.
Yes. Okay. Since you are in agreement, let me bring Krishank Mane. Let's continue with others.
Rahul Gandhi should first of all resign as a member of parliament, since he has no faith in being in being in Indian parliament, and he scoffs at the parliamentary system, and he goes all over criticizing and deriding Indian democracy, belittling and discrediting the Indian parliamentary democracy. So I think he should begin with that, and also dismissing the Himachal Pradesh government as well as Rajasthan. I think that's a quick way to begin. And of course, starting with apologizing and then ask for anything. And not that the investigation vis-a-vis Adani issue is getting scuttled at all, because Supreme Court of all the institutions is totally at the top of it.
Okay, Krishank Mane, are you in agreement with what Rahul Gandhi said in Cambridge and in Chatham House?
No, not at all. But the point is, Rahul Gandhi, we generally don't know when he speaks what. We do not want any international interventions for sure, Maria,
yes.
Because we have our institutions, we have the Honorable Supreme Court, we have belief on that, we have our parliament, and that is why we've been demanding a joint parliamentary committee, because we see doublespeak and hypocrisy by the Bharatiya Janata Party. See, today they don't want the AG, the Adani gate, to be scrutinized in the JPC. But at the same time, they should remember, when they are stressing on, don't you believe Supreme Court, then they should remember that the previous government put a JPC on 2G. Simultaneously, there was a case in the Honorable Supreme Court also. So one thing, the Bharatiya Janata Party, when they raised uproar in the parliament during the 2G, why are they fearing any kind of investigation of AG, the Adani gate? Today they are claiming that, the Supreme Court is investigating. Yes, absolutely. We are proud that the Supreme Court is investigating. but not at the behest or the request of the union government.
Okay,
The
so
union
you are
government
saying,
did
no,
not-
no. Then in that case,
fact,
have faith in the Supreme Court of India. My question is, you have to have faith in institutions. Or else you take the line that Rahul Gandhi is saying, that he has no faith in any institution, that the entire democratic setup in India has collapsed. Which way are you on?
See one thing. There is nowhere in the constitution that if the Supreme Court is investigating, that there should not be a JPC, because the parliamentarians have to scrutinize, because
Okay, so
Adani is just
parliamentarian
not one
must
scam. If they're
scrutinize along with the
If there
Supreme
is-
Court
this-
panel, which is, if the Supreme Court is seized of the matter, should the parliament be getting into it? That's an executive, judiciary, legislature debate. Shazia, tell me a quick response from you, and then I bring in Professor
one
Mane.
point.
Okay,
Okay, because you
Okay,
raised
Mr.
about
Mane.
policy.
Okay, Mr. Mane. Yes, Mr. Mane. Yes.
See, if they're talking about policy, see, airport policy, the 13-member committee has clearly mentioned that only 2 airports should be given. But what did they do? They changed the policy for Adani. This has to be discussed in the parliament. It has to be discussed by the JPC. While there is a scandal and there is a loss for the common people, they want to escape with the Rafale. Rafale did not affect the common people. But when it comes
No, but
to
how is
Adani,
this? No. How is this?
LIC,
How
people
is
who have
this?
invested,
How is this affecting the common person?
This is complete.
common person, because those who have invested.
No, we have seen
State
Rishabh
governments
Mane,
have-
how
State
this entire
governments have
Rafale
invested.
issue backfired in the 2019 elections. This clearly seems to be some kind of disconnect between the common man and the issues that are being raised by the opposition parties. Yes, Shazia, quickly
Mariaji,
respond.
common
Yes.
people,
So first
state
of all,
governments
I
have
can read
invested
out.
on
Sir, I
Adani.
think it's all there.
Many state
No, I can
governments.
start reading it out to you.
Including
all
the
the
Congress.
work that Adani Group has done with the Congress.
Fortunately,
party.
not the
I can
BRS.
start telling you all the work that is happening in Kerala and Adani Group, and all that is happening with the West Bengal government, with the TMC government. So what you insinuate right now, that Adani Group has only worked with BJP, is a complete lie. So there you stand exposed. Two, and most
I
importantly,
haven't said only
on all
BJP.
the matters.
No, I haven't said. Shazia ji, please don't mince
no,
words.
No, let me finish.
Please don't
Let me
mince
finish.
words.
Let me
I
finish.
said state
On all the
governments have
matters,
invested.
whether
I
it
haven't
was
said only BJP ruled
whether it
parties.
was whether it was JPC on the Bofors matter or the 2G matter, as you just mentioned, on both the matters, it was the Supreme Court which came out with the hearings, with the verdicts, and not the JPC, which has dragged on and on. The fact of and in fact on 2G, it is the Supreme Court which actually said that there's not enough investigation done, and actually held CBI responsible for not enough investigation, thereby giving a clean chit, which made Mr. Raja distribute laddus, which we all saw. So
Mariaji, straight question. Why so many excuses? Why are they afraid of a JPC?
I'm just turning your logic. I'm just turning
Why
your
are you
logic
afraid of
on
a
its own head.
JPC?
No, nobody's afraid. I'm saying why don't you have faith in Supreme Course, which has always held the opposition and BJP in good stead, always, and we have no choice but to have the Supreme Court.
Okay, let me bring in Professor M Nalapat, who has been extremely patient throughout. Professor Nalapat, the question here is that, is this all because the BJP fully understands that not as much as Rahul Gandhi's issue, the issue is of nationalism, and that's a playfield that they love to play on because it's always been advantage BJP?
Look, Maria, first of all, I'd like to point out that, in my view, discussions in Parliament are good, and the more discussions there are, the better.
Yes.
I remember times when the BJP as an opposition party just walked out of Parliament and left the discussions in midair. I remember other times when ruckuses were created by multiple parties, including by the parties who are today demanding a discussion. But discussions are good. I want to make just 2 or 3 points which I think seem to me to be logical. In the first place, it seems very clear, if you take him at his word, that Rahul Gandhi doesn't believe there's any democracy in India. So now an election is coming up in Karnataka. If there is no democracy in India, then of course, I think 15, 16, 17 times the BJP has lost in state elections since 2014, the period when democracy was snuffed out. So that evidently means that the Prime Minister is basically been, ensuring that his party gets defeated in these states. But now you have Karnataka. Now, obviously, if there's no democracy, why fight the election in Karnataka? Why go to parliament at all? So, you can't have it both ways. You can't say democracy is not functioning and then, be a member of parliament, contest elections and win many elections, and including winning parliamentary seats. And frankly, I think they're doing they have won quite a lot of seats. How many because of Rahul Gandhi, I don't know, but they have been winning seats. The second point is Gautam Adani his company did not start in 2014. It started way back in the 1980s. So if anybody is afraid of a discussion, then frankly, my own view is that let the discussion start from the 1980s, from the 1990s, from the early part of the 21st century, including from 2004, 2014, and you will see that Adani Enterprises has grown by leaps and bounds, irrespective of whichever government is in power. So if anybody is opposing, JPC personally, I'm not very much in favor of that. Almost all these JPC reports have just gathered dust. It's a lot of taxpayer money comes into it, and at the end of it, very little happens. But the reality is that Gautam Adani has done exceptionally well, no matter what the government in power was. And if you have an inquiry, well, let's have an inquiry into the whole thing.
Okay.
So the point is very simple, Maria. This is illogical.
Okay.
In a sense, on both sides are basically arguing it's either my way or the highway.
Okay.
Rahul Gandhi should apologize. He's not going to apologize. He'll commit political harakiri if he apologizes. He's got dreams, I think, of becoming a very important person in the government of India. He's not going to apologize. That's not going to happen.
Okay, so
Then
if Rahul Gandhi doesn't apologize, and which essentially means that he will continue to believe, and his party believes, Swati Malik, that there is no democracy in India, that the democracy in India is under threat, that the institutions are under threat, which means that you should not also participate in electoral processes. Karnataka mein chunav hone wala hai.
Maria, let me answer your earlier question as well while I'm getting this opportunity. When you said, how does this matter to the common man? The whole Adani group request, that investigation that we are asking for the JPC, it affects the common man because there are 30 crore LIC users, policy holders, and there are 35 crore SBI account holders. So all those people also need answers. Why were these entities investing in a particular group? Also after selling Power Grid, after selling NTPC stakes, that's when they sold those and they invested in Adani Group, which even a domestic mutual fund is not ready to invest.
The Rajasthan Chief Minister on board when you are raising this issue, because there are several projects of Adani Group in Rajasthan.
Absolutely, yes. So when we say
and what about Chhattisgarh? There are projects of Adani Group in Chhattisgarh.
They will be everywhere. So have an investigation
also in Trinamool, Congress
have it everywhere. We are not saying leave out our states. Have it there as well. Please have a fair investigation everywhere. And if there's anybody from our governments, our state governments found to be guilty, he should also be taken to task just like anybody else who's found to be guilty. We are not saying excuse.
Shazia has a question for Swati. Yes, Shazia, quickly.
Swati, I have just 2-3 questions for you. And can you please ask, when, the entire Adani story began in 1985, I think, or 84, when Rajiv Gandhi opened up PVC, an open general category, and the biggest beneficiary was Adani family at that point of time. And then he negotiated a deal with Gujarat state body, which was Export Corporation, to import PVCs, and that's how the margins increased. And then flush with profits from this PVC business, Adani Enterprises was born, and in 88 and listed in 89. Who was in government then? Let's look at the fact.
Yes, it was our government.
Let's look at other phases. Let's look at all the phases. When it came to
I agree,
the port in 1991 by Narasimha Rao's government, and the ports were liberalized. Who got into a deal with Gujarat Maritime Board to develop Mundra? Who was it?
So there is no harm. We are not saying that Adani should be invested, the government should be invested only from 2014. Please investigate before that as well. But Mr. Adani, Mr. Rajiv Gandhi did not take Mr. Adani in his place, and they were not traveling all over the world, getting deals from all over the world. Sri Lanka commented on it, Australia
and now
commented
look at this. Mundra became a model to develop other ports like Pipavav, Dahej and Hazira, all under 1997 model.
Shazia, we
All
are
under
not
who?
against development. We are against
No, not development.
this whole
Adani development.
Bhai Bhatijawad that's
Row.
happening by the BJP with
Adani
Mr.
Row.
Adani.
So why now? Why are you demanding it now?
Okay.
Investigate earlier as well. Investigate
Just look at
earlier as
yourself.
well.
I mean,
Last
do you even know
8
what you
years,
say?
last 9
How-
years,
how bright you sound.
is there
How
any
bright you
mystery?
sound.
You know, this is exactly what is playing out in Parliament, which means that the Parliament has been derailed. There are important bills that have to be passed. I hope that better sense prevails and both sides come on the talking table at least and sort out issues and end this impasse. Thank you so much for your time, Shazia.